Emma walked quickly through the bustling streets of Boston, her mind tangled with thoughts she couldn't shake. The crisp autumn air brushed against her face as she navigated through the crowd, leaves crunching underfoot. People laughed and shouted around her, the city alive with energy. But she felt a quiet emptiness that clung to her heart. Today had started like any other day. Work, errands, a coffee on the go. Yet, something felt different. Like the universe had a plan she hadn't seen coming. Turning a corner, she nearly bumped into a stranger, stepping back to apologize. But then she froze, her breath catching in her throat. Standing across the street, sunlight catching the edges of his hair, was someone she never expected to see. Liam. The person she had tried to forget for years, yet never truly had. His familiar smile, the tilt of his head, the easy confidence that used to make her heart race, all returned at once. It had been 5 years since she last saw him. 5 years of missed calls, unanswered messages, and silent nights, wondering what could have been. Now here he was, looking at her as if no time had passed, as if the world had held its breath just for this moment. Emma's heart hammered in her chest, memories flooding back with a force she hadn't anticipated. She remembered their late-night walks in college, the way he would make her laugh when everything seemed hard, the small touches that had meant more than she could ever say. And yet, there was pain in those memories too. A lingering hurt from the day he left. Chasing dreams in New York while she stayed behind. Trying to piece together a life that felt incomplete without him. She blinked rapidly, trying to steady herself, hoping he hadn't noticed the storm of emotions crossing her face. Liam's eyes met hers, wide with surprise and something unspoken. Something that made her stomach flutter in ways it hadn't in years. He started walking toward her, coffee cup in hand, his pace slow. As if he was unsure this was real, Emma, he said softly, the single word carrying years of longing and regret. She forced a small, nervous smile. Liam, I didn't expect to see you here. His grin was gentle, almost shy. Neither did I. They both laughed lightly. An awkward, relieved sound, but underneath it was the heavy weight of all the time that had passed. The things left unsaid, the emotions carefully hidden. As they walked together, side by side, past the street performers and cafe lines, Emma tried to focus on the ordinary, on the sound of his voice, the warmth of his hand brushing against hers accidentally. But the city seemed to fade around them, leaving only the two of them in a bubble of memory and possibility. Liam asked about her life, her job, her family. Small talk that somehow carried a deeper meaning, each word layered with curiosity and a quiet hope. I never thought I'd see you in Boston again, he said. I thought maybe New York would keep us in different worlds forever. Emma shook her head, a bittersweet smile tugging at her lips. Life doesn't always go the way we plan, does it? They stopped at a small park, watching children play in the distance, couples walking dogs, life moving forward. And yet here they were, caught in a moment suspended from time. Liam glanced at her, his expression softening. I've thought about reaching out so many times, but I didn't want to disturb your life. Emma's throat tightened. She hadn't realized how much she had wanted him to. I wondered the same, she admitted quietly, her voice almost lost in the wind. But I didn't know if it was too late. Liam shook his head gently. It's never too late, Emma. I've realized that. She wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe that love could return even after years apart. That maybe the spark they had wasn't gone, just waiting. Hidden beneath the weight of life and distance, they continued walking. Their conversation flowing naturally, easy and familiar, yet charged with a tension neither of them could fully name. Each glance, each pause was loaded with the history they shared. the moments they had missed, and the possibilities that stretched ahead. Emma found herself noticing everything about him again. From the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, to the way his voice held that calm steadiness she had always loved. She realized she had imagined this moment countless times, wondering if he had thought of her, wondering if seeing him would feel like closure or a new beginning. And now that she was here, she understood it was neither and both at once. It was a second chance she hadn't expected. Wrapped in nerves, excitement, and fear, the sun began to dip lower, casting long shadows across the pavement. The air grew colder, and Emma shivered slightly. Liam, noticing, offered her his jacket. "Here, you'll need this," she hesitated, then accepted, the warmth of his gesture reaching deeper than the fabric. "Thank you," she murmured, her fingers brushing his, sending an electric shiver up her arm. They walked past the river, the lights of the city reflecting on the water, and Emma felt a strange mix of calm and chaos, as if the city itself was urging her to confront feelings she had buried too long. For a moment, neither of them spoke, simply walking together, the silence comfortable and meaningful. Then Liam stopped, looking at her with an intensity that made her stomach flip. "Emma, I don't know what the future holds, but I know I had to see you again, to tell you. I never stopped caring." Emma's breath caught, the words both terrifying and thrilling. I don't know what to say," she whispered, her heart racing. "You don't have to say anything," he replied softly. "Just know I'm here now." The moment was broken by the distant sound of a train, reminding them that the world kept moving, that life had responsibilities and routines. Yet somehow, in that brief encounter, everything else seemed to fade, leaving only the two of them. Two people who had loved and lost, now standing at the edge of something unknown but undeniable. As they parted ways that evening, agreeing to meet again, Emma walked home slowly, her heart light yet heavy, filled with hope, doubt, and curiosity. Could love truly return after so long, or was this the beginning of a story she wasn't ready to finish? Her mind replayed every glance, every word, every laugh they had shared in that short walk, and she knew one thing for certain. Liam's return had awakened feelings she thought she had carefully locked away, feelings that were not going to fade quietly. And somewhere in the back of her mind, she wondered if this unexpected meeting was just a coincidence or the start of something that could finally heal the heart she thought was scarred forever. The city around her buzzed with life, but for Emma, the only thing that mattered was the thought of seeing him again. The thought that maybe, just maybe, love had returned unexpectedly. The following days felt strange and alive for Emma. Every time she thought of Liam, her heart stirred in ways she hadn't felt in years. Their unexpected meeting lingered in her mind like a vivid dream, one she wanted to hold on to and at the same time feared. She kept replaying the words he had said, the way his eyes searched hers, as if asking for permission to return into her life. It was a mix of excitement and nervousness, a feeling she hadn't realized she had missed so much. Liam, on his part, felt the pull of familiarity and longing. Each moment with Emma reminded him of all the years he had spent away, chasing goals and dreams, thinking he was moving forward, only to realize he had left a part of himself behind. They began texting and calling, careful at first, testing the waters, sharing small jokes, memories, and casual updates. Yet beneath every message was an unspoken tension, a silent question hovering over both of them. Could they really rebuild what had been broken? One evening, Liam suggested meeting at a quiet spot by the Charles River, a place that had once been their favorite. He arrived first, pacing slightly, hands in pockets, watching the water ripple under the soft city lights. It was cold, but the atmosphere felt warm, familiar. as if the river itself remembered their past conversations. Laughter and stolen moments. Emma approached, pulling her coat tighter around her, her breath forming clouds in the chilly air. Liam's face lit up the instant he saw her, and for a moment the years apart seemed to vanish. They walked slowly along the riverbank, letting the sounds of the city surround them, talking about everything and nothing, the conversation flowing naturally despite the long gap between them. Liam stopped suddenly, turning to face her, his expression serious but tender. "Emma, I need to tell you something," he said, his voice steady yet vulnerable. She nodded, her heart beating faster, waiting. "I've thought about you every day since I left. I tried to move on. I really did, but I couldn't. You've been part of me, even when I was far away." Emma felt a lump in her throat, emotions rising too fast for her to contain. "Liam, I don't know if I can just pretend the past didn't hurt," she whispered, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. He stepped closer, careful not to overwhelm her. "I know I hurt you, and I'll never stop regretting that. But leaving wasn't because I stopped caring. It was because I thought I needed to find myself. I didn't realize that part of me was always with you." Her chest tightened, a mixture of longing and fear swirling inside her. She had tried to convince herself that she was over him, that life had moved on, yet here he was, stirring feelings she had believed were gone. They continued walking, the air filled with a gentle tension, neither wanting to break the fragile connection forming between them. Emma looked at him and remembered every late-night conversation, every shared laugh, every quiet moment that had made her heart race. "I thought I had moved on," she admitted softly. "But seeing you now, it's like nothing changed." Liam's hand brushed hers briefly, an innocent touch that sent a shiver through her body, yet comforted her at the same time. He smiled softly. "Emma, love like this doesn't just disappear. It waits, quietly, until the right moment comes along. I think maybe the right moment is now." Her heart pounded, torn between hope and fear. She wanted to believe him, but the past had left scars that weren't easy to ignore. "What if this is too late, Liam? What if we've changed too much?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He shook his head, his eyes locked on hers. "It's never too late for something real, Emma. I know it is real between us." They found a bench near the water, sitting side by side, the city lights dancing across the river. Neither spoke for a few minutes, letting the silence hold the weight of years, of memories, of unspoken words. Liam finally reached out, gently holding her hands. "Emma, I'm not asking for perfection. I just want to be honest. I love you, I always have, and I want to try again." Tears threatened to spill from her eyes, a mix of relief, happiness, and the fear of opening her heart too wide. "Liam, I love you too, but I needed to be sure that this time it's real," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. The honesty between them created a fragile bridge, connecting past and present, bridging the gap of years spent apart. They talked for hours, sharing stories of their separate lives, of regrets and lessons learned, and slowly, the walls they had built around their hearts began to crumble. Each laugh, each shared memory, each gentle glance made the distance of 5 years seem insignificant. They discovered that while they had changed, grown and faced challenges alone, the bond they shared had only deepened, strengthened by absence and longing. As the night deepened, Emma realized how much she had missed simply being near him, his presence comforting yet electrifying. Liam's words lingered in her mind, every syllable a reminder that love could survive distance and time, that it could return unexpectedly, stronger than before. He held her hands a little tighter, and she felt a warmth spreading through her chest, a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in years. They laughed softly, reminiscing about college days, about mistakes and silly adventures, and she realized that the joy of these moments was amplified by the knowledge of what they had lost and what they could regain. At one point, Liam became serious again, looking out at the river. "Emma, I don't want to pressure you. I just want you to know how I feel. I want to be part of your life. If you'll let me." She nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the decision she hadn't realized she was ready to make. "I want that too, Liam. I think I've been waiting for this without knowing it." Their hands remained intertwined, a silent promise, a bridge across years of separation, of unspoken feelings, a start of something new. The night grew colder, and Emma shivered. Liam draped his coat over her shoulders without a word, the simple act saying more than any words could. She felt protected, cherished and seen, emotions crashing over her in waves, realizing how deeply she had missed him, how much she had wanted this connection to survive. The city around them continued its restless energy, but in their small bubble by the river, time seemed to slow, giving them a chance to rebuild, to reconnect, to start again. Eventually, they walked back toward the street, reluctant to part ways, each step filled with anticipation and hesitation. Liam's hand brushed hers again, lingering just long enough to send a spark through her heart. "Emma, can we do this? Can we really try again?" he asked, his voice steady but hopeful. She smiled, tears welling up. "Yes, Liam, I think we can." The words felt like a release, a promise, a quiet confession that love could be given a second chance. As they said goodbye that night, neither of them wanted to let go. Yet they parted with a shared understanding that this was only the beginning. The future remained uncertain, but the connection they had rediscovered was undeniable. A fragile yet beautiful thread that could grow stronger with trust, honesty, and time. Emma walked home feeling lighter, yet her mind raced with thoughts of the moments yet to come, of the conversations, the laughter, the quiet gestures of care that would rebuild what had once been broken. She realized that love had returned unexpectedly, in a way that neither of them could have planned, and it was more real, more present, and more powerful than she had dared to hope. And as the city lights reflected on the wet pavement, and the distant hum of traffic filled the night, Emma understood that some connections were meant to be revisited, nurtured, and given a chance to thrive. Even after years of separation, days passed quickly, and the rhythm of Emma and Liam's renewed connection began to settle into something natural yet electric. Each meeting brought a mixture of laughter, quiet moments, and gentle teasing that reminded them both of how easily they had fit into each other's lives before. Emma discovered she looked forward to seeing him in a way that made ordinary tasks fade into background noise. And Liam felt the same, noticing how much space she had always held in his heart. It was as if the universe had paused for them, allowing time to catch up to what their hearts had never forgotten. One evening, Liam invited Emma to a small cafe tucked into a quiet Boston street, a place that had always been special to them during their college days. Its warm lights and soft music created an intimate atmosphere, and the smell of coffee and pastries made the air feel comforting and familiar. They arrived almost at the same time, exchanging smiles that were both shy and confident, the kind that hinted at unspoken feelings and shared history. Liam held the door for her, and she felt a wave of warmth at the simple, thoughtful gesture, realizing how much she had missed the small, attentive things about him. As they settled into a corner table, Liam reached across and took her hands in his, a quiet anchor in the midst of the world around them. "Emma," he began, his voice steady but carrying a depth of emotion. "I can't keep holding this inside. I have to tell you everything. She nodded, her heart racing, sensing that this was a moment that could change everything. He took a deep breath. I've loved you for years. Through every mistake, every distance, every day apart, I never stopped. And I don't want to hide it anymore. Emma's eyes filled with tears. That they were not tears of sadness, they were a release. A recognition of something she had felt quietly in her own heart. I love you too, Liam, she whispered, her voice trembling. I was afraid to admit it, afraid it was too late, but hearing you say that, it's everything I've hoped for. He smiled, a soft, relieved smile. It's not too late. Emma, we can make this real, step by step together. She nodded, feeling the weight of years lifting from her shoulders, replaced with a hopeful lightness. The cafe seemed to fade around them, the clatter of cups and low chatter blending into the background, leaving only the quiet, profound connection they were finally allowing themselves to acknowledge. They talked for hours, catching up on the time lost, sharing stories of growth, challenges, and moments of loneliness that had marked their lives while they were apart. Each revelation brought them closer, building trust and intimacy in ways words alone could not express. Emma realized that their love had matured, shaped by experiences yet remained tender, alive, and capable of deep joy. Liam, in turn, recognized that the woman before him was stronger, wiser, but still the Emma he had fallen for, the one whose laughter and presence had been unforgettable. At one point, Liam grew quiet, his gaze distant, and Emma gently asked what he was thinking. He looked at her, eyes soft. I was thinking about all the chances we missed, all the moments we could have shared, but also about how every step, every wrong turn, brought us to this, to each other right now. She reached across and squeezed his hand. Maybe missing the past made this moment even more meaningful. He nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips, and they sat together in silence for a moment, feeling the warmth of each other's presence, the simple comfort of being understood, appreciated and loved. As the night wore on, Liam suggested they take a walk outside, under the quiet glow of the streetlights. The streets were nearly empty, the city moving at a slower, softer pace, and Emma felt a thrill in the cool evening air. The world around them somehow less important than the space they occupied together. They walked side by side, occasionally brushing hands, their laughter echoing softly, the kind of laughter that comes from relief, joy, and the shared recognition of long-hidden emotions finally set free. Eventually, they stopped on a small bridge overlooking the river, the water reflecting the soft city lights like scattered diamonds. Liam turned to her, taking both her hands in his. Emma, I want to be honest about everything. No more hiding, no more fear. I want to be with you. Completely. In a way that honors what we had and what we can have. Her heart thumped, every nerve alive with anticipation. Liam, I want that too, more than I can say, she replied, her voice steady with conviction. The air between them was charged with emotion, the kind that comes only from years of longing, regret, and hope finally converging. They leaned slightly closer, their foreheads almost touching, sharing a quiet, unspoken understanding that this was more than a fleeting moment. It was the start of something lasting, something real. Liam brushed a strand of hair from her face gently, a simple gesture filled with tenderness, and Emma felt the depth of care and devotion he held for her. She realized that love, when it returned, didn't always come as fireworks or grand declarations. Sometimes it came quietly, persistently, and unshakably, demanding to be noticed, embraced, and cherished. They spent the rest of the evening walking through quiet streets, stopping at a little park bench to sit and watch the city lights flicker across the water. The conversation flowed effortlessly, sometimes interrupted by comfortable silences. Each pause a reassurance that they could simply exist together without needing more. Liam told her stories from his time in New York, the challenges he had faced, the lessons he had learned, and Emma shared her own struggles, triumphs, and dreams. Each exchange strengthened the bridge of understanding between them, each story a thread weaving their lives closer together. As the night grew colder, Liam draped his coat over her shoulders, a protective, intimate gesture, and she felt the quiet certainty of belonging. They laughed softly at small jokes, reminisced about silly moments from college, and talked about dreams they could share moving forward. It was a simple night, yet it felt monumental, a turning point that would mark the beginning of the next chapter in their story. The city around them moved on as usual, but they existed in a bubble of shared history. Understanding and love rediscovered, finally. They walked back toward Emma's apartment, hesitant to end the evening, reluctant to leave each other's presence. "I never want this to end," Emma said quietly. Looking up at him, Liam smiled. "It doesn't have to, Emma. Not if we don't want it to." They stopped in front of her building, hands still intertwined, neither wanting to let go. Yet knowing the evening had to pause somewhere. Liam leaned slightly closer, brushing her cheek gently. "Tomorrow and every day after, I want to show you that this is real. That we're real." Emma nodded, tears of joy welling in her eyes. "I believe you, Liam. I truly do." As they finally said goodbye, exchanging a lingering, hopeful embrace, both felt the weight of the past lift, replaced with anticipation and promise. They knew challenges would come. Life would continue to test them. But the foundation of honesty, love, and mutual care they were building now felt unshakable. Emma watched him walk away, heart light and full, realizing that love had indeed returned unexpectedly, stronger and more alive than ever, and that sometimes the right love doesn't arrive at the right time. It arrives when hearts are ready. Returning inside her apartment, Emma felt a quiet, deep contentment, a certainty she hadn't known in years. She reflected on the path that had brought them back together. Every separation, every doubt, every moment of longing leading to this. And in that reflection, she allowed herself to hope without fear, to love without hesitation, and to believe that some connections, once found, were never truly lost, only waiting for the right moment to return. A gentle smile curved her lips as she sat by the window, gazing at the city lights, knowing that the next chapter of her life with Liam was about to begin, full of promise, tenderness, and the quiet, enduring power of love.